Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
Special
what's
guest,
going on?
Joe Gilbert, and this is State of Atlanta.
Already messing things up.
That's all right. You're all good.
It's
We
all
mess
right.
things up all the time.
It's first show jitters. It's all good, man. Thanks for joining us, Joe. I'm really excited to have former player, inaugural team standout,
Nerd.
on the nerd on the team.
I'll wear that label proudly.
I know you will. We've talked about that. We know. I know.
and Ryan, I want to say he's the very first time he's been doing this, and we've been doing this show for this is our third season, third year of doing this, and
Something
he
like
has
that.
the better backdrop than any of us have ever had as far as doing a Georgia State or any kind of sports podcast.
Yeah. No. What all the hat collection?
The hat,
yeah,
he has even though it is the push-up Panther, the black and blue push-up Panther, he's got the Panther logo back there. He's got the Braves Atlanta or Braves combo thing there. So yeah, he looks better than we do.
Oh yeah, I went through some trouble for this. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I fit right in. So
well, you fit in better than we do.
Exactly, which is not difficult to do, really.
It's not hard. We put minimal effort into this thing. So
Ryan, you put minimal effort into this thing. You put minimal effort.
That's not true.
I work my ass off for this.
you do all right.
Yeah, well, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you I've got no ass. There's not a lot of ass to work off. So, yeah. All right. Enough ass jokes. This was a very sobering weekend, or a sobering week, I should say.
Oh yeah.
Man, I went up there to the game in Appy, and it was people talk about how beautiful that stadium it is, and it's pretty. It's pretty. The leaves were changing.
Nice.
We get the full effect. Yeah, and it's a small little college town. It's nice. I wasn't awestruck by everything that I saw up there. The Rock. Yeah. I will tell you what.
Joe, did you ever play up there?
I did not. I went up there for a wrestling camp in high school, and that's the only time I've been on App State campus.
Yeah.
Sadly, the only crossover between the original or the inaugural season and current schedule is when we get them South Alabama.
Well, I wouldn't be sad about that at all. We're 0-9. So you have no fault in our record, which is just that's good. That's good. I would embrace that. Be like, you know what? If I were playing, we'd have a win, is what you should be saying. If I were there.
Man, I don't know if the current players would care for me much.
Well, they don't care for. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, they obviously don't care for winning right now, but that's besides the point.
Say it, and then I thought otherwise, and then David just went for it.
Hey, we're halfway through the schedule. We're allowed to be negative now, right? We're allowed to be a little pessimistic about things. All right,
it was embarrassing. Like we played good for a quarter, and then for 3 quarters we like really just. I mean, I don't know. Like we shit the bed. Like I don't know another way to put it. Like we got outplayed in embarrassing fashion. It wasn't even like there's no defense of the way that we played for 3 quarters. There was no defense. Demolished.
You're exactly right. There was no defense on Georgia State's side.
There was no offense either. We just got killed.
Yeah. So Joe, you know more about football than Ryan, Tim, and I combined by a large measure. Maybe you can give us some insight. What did you see watching that game and watching that team? What went wrong? Is there anything that went right at all?
Well, the first quarter went great. Well, that's the thing. What I really saw after that first quarter was App State was doubting themselves. They were ready to believe that this was going to be the year. Georgia State's going to beat them. We're not that good. We beat a bad Texas A&M team, but we're not the App State of old yet. We're not competing for titles, and we could have beaten that message into them going into that second quarter, but for whatever reason, we really got away from the run game, which I thought was a big mistake. Like I want to say it was the drive after our second touchdown. All of a sudden, we've got Granger airing it out. And I didn't mind taking a shot, but
Right.
that came like, all right, let's just air it out 3 times in a row and punt the ball. I think is what we ended up doing on that drive. And that was just a metaphor for what happened really the rest of that game. And can I get something off my chest for a second?
Please,
by all means.
This game broke me. This game, I came into this season thinking this is going to be a breakout year. We are Georgia State. We are returning almost 80% of production. We have a stout defense. We have a great running back room. We've got offensive linemen that are 3rd and 4th year starters returning. We should be stacked. In my head, I was expecting we're going to beat either one of South Carolina or North Carolina. And this season set up perfectly because we were hosting North Carolina. A signature win at home. And I thought, okay, that's when we're going to break out. That doesn't work. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm thinking, okay, we're about to
it's fine.
Charlotte. We're going to go into conference. We're going to compete for a conference title. And like up after Southern, I thought, maybe we corrected, maybe we've got things right. But then we just go up and score 14 points and then 3.
Then shit the bed.
In game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think you're describing, every Panther fan that's out there, because I mean that's pretty much what we preached all off season and heading into the season was, we had this is the best team that Georgia State has ever fielded. And if they had fielded Joe Gilbert on this team, it would have been a championship season for sure, no doubt.
100%.
Breaking into college playoff,
100%
for sure, for sure. But we didn't have Joe Gilbert, and we missed some kind of spark. And yeah, I said it too. I said I think we have a legit chance of beating one of the Carolinas, and then between Coastal and Appy and Marshall, we're gonna win one of these games as well. And we've already lost 2 of them now. Marshall is looking pretty bad. Actually, I put this in my notes to talk about what we thought about the rest of the season. But I said at the beginning of the season that that last game at Marshall could be for the division champ. It may not be for the division bottom team. It may be for last place in the division.
Where I've gotten to is that we can beat any team on the schedule, but we can also lose against any team on this schedule. And like that's where I'm at right now, where I'm just like, holy shit, like Monroe could beat us. I mean, they can. We're beatable. And I don't know what team is going to show up. We can win every single game. We had the capability, I believe, to beat App State. We didn't show up to that game for whatever reason. The guys gave up, and I don't understand why, because they had momentum. But we can lose any game. I mean, we have shown a capability to just not show up to games. So I don't know what to expect. This game is wild. I mean, the whole season's a wild card at this point. Wild card, bitches.
I mean, if you are a truly optimistic Panther fan, then I think even the most irrational optimistic Panther fan knows that winning the East is done for. But there's still a bowl opportunity is in our hands. There is a chance if we win 4 of these last 5 games, we could still be bowl eligible. But you're looking at a schedule where we're favored in 2 games. We're actually favored this week against Old Dominion at home. It opened up at 6-point favorite. It's down to 3.5-point favorite. We're favored against Monroe, and there were underdogs by a lot to everybody else. Yep. Even I think our best shot outside of Monroe and Old Dominion is Southern Miss, and that's only like a 35% chance of winning according to ESPN or whatever it is. So it's going to be tough to make this be a redeeming year. But wouldn't that be the Georgia State thing?
Yeah.
Look at this garbage and then win these last 5 games. And you're like, I want to be so upset. I want to see changes. I want to clean out house. But you're like, but we just won the last 5 games, went to a bowl game and won that. Like, oh, well, I guess we'll do it all over again next season. We'll shit the bed for the first 4 or 5 games and then come out and save everybody's jobs. Cynical Peach makes a comment along those lines. Is My biggest fear is that we've reached the peak with Coach Elliott. The worst thing about this season is seeing the conference getting better around us, and Georgia State is falling behind. Yeah.
It's what we're used to. So what we're used to as Georgia State fans is that the team is hit or miss, and that there's not a lot of consistency. And I think that's been like a big problem throughout. Like past coaches, and we move in, and consistency is what you see out of good teams, and we do not have it, and we've never had it. We can beat any team. Like I think maybe 4 times out of 10 we're gonna beat South Carolina this year even. It's not as gonna be as often, right? I feel like they have a better team, and we're gonna beat them, and we just don't right now. So,
and well, that's the problem. Like, I'm conflicted about Sean Elliott because on the one hand, the dude never really rubbed me the right way when he first came in. Like no offense to the guy, he just didn't gel with me. And I don't like that he's always he's already has one foot out the door. Like he never relocated to Atlanta. And the way I think of him is he's not Georgia State's head football coach. He is a head football coach that happens to be employed by Georgia State.
Yeah.
And I was ready to make that trade at the beginning of this year because I'm not blind. I know 4 out of his 5 full seasons have been winning seasons. And I think the last 3 in a row or 3 consecutive seasons were winning seasons. And I don't want to go back to where we were, but going to a bowl game needs to be the minimum. We should not be the type of team where we're not Duke. We're not like, a bowl game is a banner year for us. That needs to be how things were. And we're transitioning towards competing for championships because like that was the biggest thing that I had hope for left in the season at this point was the conference or was the Eastern Division because we had a legit shot. App State was not looking as good as they had in previous years, and Georgia Southern did a great favor to us. They beat James Madison, so all of a sudden, we have 1 loss. Everybody else has 1 loss. We can make a run at it, but now, as you said, with 2 losses, if we run the table, there's a chance, but we have to run the table against Marshall and James Madison. And at this point, I don't see that as being super, super likely. And that's
we got real. Like we got lucky with the schedule when it comes to the cross division because we got 2 of the weaker teams, or at least we thought 2 of the weaker teams going into the season with Monroe and Southern Miss. Southern Miss has actually looked like they're halfway decent this year. Monroe still is Monroe gonna Monroe. But yeah, this was the chance. We did not face Lafayette, which has had our card just like App State has. This was our chance. We do our business in the East. We take care of the West. And yeah, I really did believe this squad and this schedule. It's a difficult schedule, but this conference schedule that we had the chance to really truly compete for the East. And now we're just like looking up at a bowl. Like
bowl game.
We get made fun of for how early we talk about bowl projections on here. We're like week 1 bowl projections, and we have not been discussed in bowl projections. We're doing our best to stay out of ESPN's bottom 10.
Yep. Are we not in it right now?
We're honorable mention. We're like receiving votes in the bottom 10.
Right.
At least last time I saw it. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's rough though, man. It's been rough.
I think when we
gotta go 4-1 to be bowl eligible at all.
Yes.
Yep.
And then we one of our losses to Charlotte, we were their only win, and they went ahead and they fired their head coach already.
We should have won that game.
Lone win.
Yep, we should have won that game.
I believe it because that should have been the get right game. All right, we've gotten 2 beatings from Power 5 teams. We're gonna take out some frustration, and what happened? I don't know.
But even then, going back to that, really, if you look at the schedule, we had our optimism and our hopes, but that Charlotte game was the guaranteed win on the schedule, and so we didn't get it. All right. Well, on paper, we wanted to beat the P5 teams. On paper, we're supposed to lose to North Carolina and South Carolina. I've said this for the past couple of weeks. We think we win Charlotte. We didn't. That's an upset. All right. Coastal, We wanted to win. We knew it was a coin flip game. We also knew that the home team never wins in that series ever. We beat Army. That was one that you kind of thought, you beat Charlotte. Army's a maybe. We did business against the trash down south. That's great. All right, then we play Appy. We've never beaten Appy.
So let's stop though. Let's stop real quick because we have said multiple times on this podcast, and I still stand by it. Like, we're gonna shit on this team a little bit right now, but if we go 1-11 and we beat the trash down south, I'm okay. I will be okay.
I think we've said that too many times to it, and it's now starting to become true. The football gods.
I mean, still that win means a lot to me, and I still am like, you know what, we can lose every other game this season, and you know what, we beat the trash down south
because it's our Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
It's not my Super Bowl, but also like F.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Like if there's only one win on the schedule, that's the one you want.
F them. Like they suck.
I agree. But what I was trying to get at was, the season has not gone completely unpredictable if you looked at it from a numbers standpoint going into it. It's that Charlotte game. That Charlotte loss is what has us so down right now. It was by 1 point. We lost by 1 point.
Shouldn't have been that close.
We missed a point after. So and we missed that point after, so we go for 2-point conversions. So I mean, if we would have made that 1 point after, we would have won the game because we would have gone for a point after on the other 2 touchdowns. So it's all came down to that one thing, and that one missed point, has changed our entire perception on what this season is right now. Would we be happy being 3-4? Was that the math right? No. But it would be like, yeah, I kind of understand why we are, because we played this really tough schedule with these really tough teams, but we beat the teams we were supposed to beat. We beat Charlotte, we beat Army, we beat the trash down south. That we would hang our hats on that. That Charlotte loss has changed the entire perception.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's a real.
What do we got here? Cynical Peach. I didn't even look at it. Hot take: the loss to Charlotte is the worst loss of Coach Elliott era. Georgia State was a near 20-point favorite. Yeah, I think.
And that's what I was saying is it shouldn't have come down to a missed extra point. I mean, that's obscene, right? Like, Charlotte is the type of team that we should have just been dominating, and that if you miss an extra point, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? You win by 19 points instead of 20 points is what that should have meant, but that's not what it meant.
One of our Patreon members, Becca, some of us are very new fans and haven't built up the thick skin to prepare for heartbreak each week. Yeah, I think that Georgia State fans all need to be prepared for this. She's not
even, trust me, you don't even know what life used to be like as a Georgia State fan. You think it's bad now. Ooh. Yeah, no, I remember the dark times.
Yeah, I know you do. You're on an inaugural team, right, Joe?
Oh yeah, I was on 6-5,
and you transferred from Georgia Tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were a grad transfer.
Yep, graduated and had 2 years left. So
nice. Hey,
do not sell Joe short. He was voted the outstanding offensive lineman for Georgia State's inaugural season.
Ooh, man, you're looking up
things that you learn by reading the. Things you learn by reading the bio on the website before you come on here.
No, but I remember talking to you before games and stuff, and really nerding out, like, because I know you're into the video game scene.
Oh yeah, Dragon
and
Con,
all that,
cartoons, all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Everything you expect from a Georgia Tech person, and also just like me, it's fine. I was actually just setting up, like, I did a big work thing tonight, and we have figured out that there are multiple people who are into D&D, and I think there might be a D&D thing going on at my work.
Oh, nice.
So.
Nice.
All right, you two nerds could get back to football for a minute.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever, man.
And actually, I
one of the things. So I went to the Georgia Boise State game some years ago when it was on the kickoff weekend, and I'm big into Dragon Con and all that, and I was going there, and I went to the Georgia Boise game, and I wore all my Georgia gear, and then I decided to walk over to Peachtree Center where DragonCon's happening, so I could get on the train because I figured it'd be easier to get on the train there. And then I was going to change and show back up at DragonCon because that's what we do. And I ended up getting made fun of by a bunch of DragonCon people, and I'm just like, just so we're all very clear, and the people who make fun of y'all should understand this too, is that football fandom and fandom of whatever sci-fi, fantasy, whatever that we're doing over here is exactly the same. We dress up, we wear our costumes, we wear paint, we do all kinds of shit. And it's exactly the same fandom, and there's no reason to have animosity for one another because we just love the thing that we love, and we dress up and we do this thing and we show up and we party with each other, and it's exactly the same thing.
No, I can dig that.
And I'm pretty sure
I will
when you
say
explained
it
this
may
to
have been it may have been the colors you were wearing, because I went in it was Jeff Collins' first game at Tech, and I decided to go to DragonCon instead of going to the Thursday night game. And all I got were people questioning me about the score. They were like, "Oh, hey, Tech, what's how y'all doing against Clemson?"
Well, you should, but to be fair about colors that you're wearing, blue and orange never go together. So you should never wear those colors together, and that's what Boise colors are. So, I was wearing red and black.
I actually had a similar experience. But it worked in my favor. I had gone. The year that we beat Tennessee, what was that? The 2019 season. Typically that was a game I would go to. I would go to Tennessee, but it was DragonCon. It was on Saturday. And my wife and I had tickets from a year ago and everything. So anyhow, we go to We go to Halfway Creek in Summer Hill, and we have a great little watch party, and we had a great time. And I left DragonCon. Awesome. I went there, watch party, went back out that night. And the next day I'm in Marriott, one of the hotels, I forget. And one of my buddies just like taps my shoulder and he's like, "You're going to want your picture with that guy." And there was a dude in the orange and white checkerboard overalls, orange Tennessee shirt with some big sign. Like he was like raising money to fire their head coach or something like that. And a couple of years prior, I walked into the bookstore and they were selling a Darth Vader Georgia State shirt. I'm like, well, I'm wearing my Darth Vader Georgia State shirt at DragonCon, coming off a big win. I still get to be nerdy. I think one there, and I'm like, I need my picture taken with you. He saw me, and he's like, his head hung low, and he's like, "Get in here."
Let's do it. Hug it out.
But anyhow, I want to get back to one thing about Appy State. I'm going to call them Appy State for this reason alone.
Is those guys.
Those guys, those black and gold podcast guys, they were so cool and so much fun. I went on their show. They came on our show.
They were kind of assholes a little bit.
They stood me up. They stood me up for the tailgate. I was told. Yes, they stood us up for the tailgate. I went to the brewery that sponsors them to check it out, and it was fine. Yep. Brewery, whatever. It was fine. And I had a great pizza pretzel. That was actually the best part of the whole place. But I reached out to AJ, and I'm like, "Hey, man, where are you tailgating? And when he headed into the game?" No response. Well, Charles had given me his address. He's like, "My tailgate is in the parking lot of this address." And so I'm like, "All right, well, AJ's not responding. I don't have Charles's number. I'm just going to go to this address." We go there, and it's some municipal building, and Charles is like the county clerk or whatever for Boone, and so it makes sense, a municipal building, that he would be there. Nobody's there. I'm like, what the hell? So we had bought some beer from their brewery that they get sponsored by to take over their tailgates. Now we're just walking through downtown Boone, chugging high gravity beer and finding bar. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And so finally we go into the game. We have that experience, and we come out and find the only other bar in Boone that's open until like 2 a.m. or something. And finally AJ replies, "Oh man, sorry dude, missed your text. Hate that we didn't get to catch up. Maybe next time." I'm like,
good night.
Screw you guys.
Yeah. Boo.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, anyhow.
I think they're, I know they're 0-9 now. And they were 0-8 before, but like they always sort of have this air of like, we're just gonna win this game. And I don't know, man. Like eventually that's not gonna be true. So it frustrates me before a game having that kind of attitude. I mean, and we always show up like I don't know. I feel like there's confidence in every game where we show up, like where people think that we might have a chance, and it hasn't hit yet. But like, I don't know. It feels disrespectful.
We're due. We're definitely due for one.
We are due.
I mean, there's other things than chance, but like we definitely have the capability, right? I mean, if we played more than a quarter in that game, we would have won, but we didn't. And that's on the players. That's not luck. That's we just.
I put it a lot more on the coaches than the players, because the players aren't calling the plays.
That's true.
Yeah, they didn't stop they didn't pull Tucker Gregg out for whatever reason the coaches did. So I put it on them. And also, I want to go back to that.
Did that happen? You want to talk about that a little bit? I don't actually know that I knew that that Tucker Gregg didn't play a bunch of plays.
Well, I just remember, like, after I think it was our second touchdown was the one he ran in. They just pulled him out, and I don't know if they were just rolling running backs series by series, but I don't remember seeing him much after that.
Doing much else, yeah.
After that,
they might have just shut out our running game, though. I mean, I feel really good about our whole stable of running backs, though, man. They seem to all be like on point. Carroll down to Carroll, who's our third string. He seems to be solid on his own. You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. What I did want to go back to that worst loss or the worst loss under Sean Elliott. When was Tennessee or Tennessee State?
Oh,
I thought that was 2017.
Yeah, that might have been the first game.
His first game. It was the very first game in Center Park Stadium. That's how we opened it up, by losing to an FCS team.
Yeah. So I will say that is worse.
Yeah, that's a fair worst loss.
That's that's his worst season. That's the 2-10 season. That if you look at, before the season started, if you looked at his tenure at Georgia State, you say that he's been a success. It's that 2-10 season that skews all the numbers. He would have a winning record as a head coach if it was not for that 2-10 season. So,
and I don't hold him too responsible for that. It's his second year as a head coach, so he's still trying to get his guys in and mold the guys he has to his scheme. I get that there was a hiccup there,
but we're past that.
Yeah, but like that's not the reason we're having troubles this year.
No, it's not. So looking ahead to this week, homecoming game against Old Dominion, and I think you can tell how much respect Old Dominion was getting in preseason, because Coastal, Trash Down South, and us all scheduled Old Dominion as the homecoming game. It's that easy win game. And now you've got an Old Dominion who beat Virginia Tech to open up the season and beat Coastal, put them in their place, like beat them solidly. But then also lost to like some crappy teams. They lost to East Carolina, who we demolished. They lost to UVA, which is fine. They lost to Liberty, Ryan, his favorite team.
Yes. They need to beat Liberty. Everyone needs to beat Liberty.
And they lost to Trash Down South. So, talking about a team that you've got no identity like Georgia State, I don't know if this Old Dominion team has any identity either. Nope. So, no idea what to expect.
Who are we going to win this? I mean, I say we win.
Yeah.
Because I'm editing myself, because F it. We should win.
Every week, those like little graphics come out, beat Army, beat App, beat whatever. I think we should start adding a question mark to the end of it. Beat ODU? Question mark. Like, we don't know. Maybe.
I just, I'm like, if in my head it's 50-50, and who knows what team for whoever's team is going to show up, like, we may as well be like, it's going to be our team. And so I'll just take it at this point. I'm not so down on our team that I won't. Like, F it, it's us. It's us. We're going to win.
Because like you said, we could lose to any team on our schedule, but we could win.
Right.
Like, we have if our team shows up and we do it like we well, I want to say
the
like we did
ability.
against Southern, but yeah, we have the ability to take a win from anybody else on the schedule.
That's
It's
right.
just, what team's going to show up.
Yep. We got the ability to beat any team on our schedule, period. The past teams too, even all the P5 teams. We have the
from week
ability
one,
to have
from week 1 to week 13. There's not a
That's
single
right.
team that we did not have the talent on the roster to
I
beat
believe
that team.
I believe that. I just
So
don't
that
know
goes back
what
to-
team is going to show up week in and week out. And so,
So that
I may as well just assume the best because I'm a fan and it'll be fun. But
well, that goes back to what Joe said earlier. If you have the talent on the roster to beat any team on your schedule, and you're, what are we? 2-4, 2-5, 2-5. If you have the talent to beat every team on your roster and you're 2-5, the only component is coaching.
Yep.
It comes down to coaching, right?
Yep.
I see.
Exactly.
Cynical Peach, he's on tonight. We'll beat Old Dominion and get our hopes up before getting dragged by JMU or Marshall. Well, at least between JMU and Marshall, we've got Southern Miss and Monroe. So I guess we go on a streak.
I also really like the use of the word "or" there. I'm in for that because it feels like you feel like we're going to be.
We're going to win one of those. Yeah.
It wasn't and/or. It was or.
Cynical Peach predicting the 4-1 ending of the season. I like it.
Not
I like it.
nearly as cynical as you give yourself credit for.
All right. So looking at where we are right now, we're dead last. I guess technically we're tied for last place with Marshall in the East, but they have the out of conference record that's better than which I guess is the tiebreaker. I don't know. I guess opponents
until we play them. It'll be the head to head when we play them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I was saying that it's going to turn out to be that could be the game that decides who's last place in the division. But yeah,
who would have thought?
And then over on the West, I thought this was interesting because I really don't pay attention to Sunbelt in general outside of Georgia State, but I pay even less attention to the West Division. But so looking at it for this, the thing Troy is 4-1 and solidly in first place. Yeah, exactly. And so they're having a great season. So I was thinking to myself, obviously we wanted to play in the East, but we win the East Division and then host the conference championship game. But I never thought about it till now because Troy was never that great. The second, the runner up to that situation is being in the conference championship and it being at Troy because that's a home game.
Yeah.
You had an hour and a half down 85 or whatever stupid road it is, and that I keep on saying every time we play Troy in both basketball and football, I say I'm going to go, and I've never been to a Troy football or basketball game.
No,
so. I've driven by the campus before, but yeah, never been there.
Yeah, no. All right, we've been going for a little bit. I want to hit on one other topic before we take off and hit last call, and that's kind of a big topic. Basketball season starts kind of this week or on Monday. We have an exhibition game against Morehouse. Joe, are you going to come to some basketball games?
Yes. I normally average, and I'm not a great round ball fan, so I'm normally averaging about one game per year.
Dude, I'm with you with the round ball, but I'll try to do better than one. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, no, I'm hoping to make it to more this year, especially to see the new convocation. So.
You got to come to that Tech game.
Well, yeah. What colors you wearing? You wearing gold and white, or you wearing blue and white?
Ideally, just a mashup. Just blue and gold.
That was my high school colors. So there you go. You can be a Chattahoochee Cougar.
Well, we got the ULM game beforehand, and so we're all going to be good and sloshed before this thing happens.
Yeah, but Joe, I heard
it's going to be a rowdy
rumblings. I don't have any details or any specifics, but I'm hearing some rumblings that that athletics is working on some sort of post-football, pre-basketball party situation. From awesome. So you finish the Monroe game, you hang out in Summerhill or the stadium or parking lot, I don't know, something, and do some just some partying and everything, and then head up to the Convocation Center for the basketball game at Tech. I'm like, all right, so for us, that equates to about 11 hours of drinking before the game against Tech starts. That is going to either be a very rowdy Convocation Center, or a lot of people just passed out.
Hopefully it's the former.
It's gonna be rough.
I think so.
Both.
I think so. I don't know if my wife actually understands that when I go to that football game that day, that I'm not coming home until late that night. Yeah. That'll be we have a family calendar, and I've got both games on there, but I don't think she understands exactly yet. I don't think she has
it off, man. It's up there.
It's on the calendar.
And
on the calendar.
That's chili cook-off. That's chili cook-off day.
Chili cook-off. Yeah, Joe. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but we do the last home game of every season. We do a chili cook-off. It's gotten pretty big. Obviously, COVID kind of.
Yeah, I've been to a few of them before.
Yes.
Yeah, because back, actually remembering way back to the Blue Lot in at the Dome. I think that was my first time experiencing it, and I would love to go, but sadly we have a 2-month-old at home, so I plan everything. Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's already been to 2 Georgia State games, by the way.
Awesome,
so,
excellent. That's more than my 4-month has been to. My 4-month-old has been to. So, all right. Well, yeah. Well, we convinced Ryan to make chili this year. So
I'm gonna make chili this year. I'm gonna make a smoked brisket and do a Texas style chili, which is actually made of chili peppers. So we'll do what's what.
Yeah, I think I'm upping my game this year. I think I'm doing some. I got some plans.
All right.
Expose anything too much.
You can't just let me win on year one, like year one, where you finally convinced me to do it. You can't. You're like, Ryan can't win this.
Exactly.
I'll do a good job because I'm actually a really good cook. I just hate beans.
Beans are awesome. I love beans. Yeah.
Beans.
I'm about to get off topic really hard right there. Anyhow, so basketball starts on Monday against the exhibition game against Morehouse, and it's on Halloween. I think I've bitched about this previously. Why would you schedule? I mean, we don't play our next game until the following Monday. What was Morehouse doing on Tuesday? What was scheduled in the Convocation Center on Wednesday? Why could you not gotten this game on any day other than the only rational explanation I can come up with was being the first time they're hosting a game in the Convocation Center. They wanted as few fans as possible to figure out how everything works, because they know that's going to be a huge turnout. So they're like, all right, this way, we can figure out how the concessions work, how ticketing works, how the whole process of everything. It kind of limits fans. It's a really lousy excuse, but that's the only reason I can think that you eliminate pretty much anybody with kids. I mean, kids that are older than 2 months because you got Halloween, man. You got to get it, or make the game later. It's a 7:00 game. If they made an 8:00 game, and my kids were in bed before 8:00, I could have done that, but no. So
yeah, well, the soft open makes a lot of sense because I can understand wanting to test things out with a smaller crowd. But if that's the case, maybe just run an inter-team scrimmage and invite the season ticket holders out and have a dry run that way.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Like a spring game. Like a spring game.
Yeah.
That was today.
Exactly.
GSU Jam was today.
I was wondering what that was. So I drove by and they were popping, man, and the lights were really cool. They had blue lights going on the inside, and there was traffic was being controlled, so people were able to walk across the street in a safe manner, which I was worried about when we did the seat selection. And it seemed like they have a pretty good plan going on up there, but I also sort of was like, what's going on? I didn't know there was anything going on. What's GSU Jam?
Yeah, didn't know that.
Oh, it's like their big student kind of kickoff for the season. They play a lot of loud music, have fun. The guys come out and they're doing a bunch like a slam dunk contest and kind of fun stuff, just kind of like a skills show for the students. I think it's purely a student thing. I don't think it's an
I didn't get advertised to.
Yeah,
I don't think that was.
Yeah. Something I saw going through looking at some stuff. There was a 11 Alive did a thing about the Convocation Center interviewing Coach Hayes, and something I noticed that the big window that we love so much that overlooks the trees, that overlooks the city. There's actually shades. There's mechanical shades that can close that down, so you can block the light. I had no idea. I just
no idea.
It wasn't talked about. It was just the background of the picture. They had the shades coming down, which I thought was pretty cool. But Coach Hayes said something that I thought was really awesome. He was talking about, how awesome it was for Georgia State to have this type of facility. People would have never thought in 100 years that a basketball program like Georgia State would get something like this. They play in a third floor, blah, blah, blah. But he said his favorite thing about it was the parquet floor, the court with the panther head on the silhouette of
the court's badass.
The state of Atlanta. I said state of Atlanta. The state of Georgia.
State of Atlanta court.
State of Atlanta. But yes, that's what he said is Atlanta is actually on the court. I forget if it's on the court side or the press box side. It actually is Atlanta on that. And he said the quote was, "We cannot think of Georgia State without first thinking of Atlanta, embracing experiences that come with that." And I love it because we've talked forever about embracing Atlanta and ATL. So now we have football jerseys with Atlanta on the front. We have the student shirts with Atlanta on the front. We have Atlanta on the court. We're finally turning to that point where we're getting Atlanta embraced as the home of Georgia State. And now when we go to away games, when I go to Army or when I go to Alabama or I go to Tennessee, whatever, people won't have to say, "Where is Georgia State?" because it'll be Atlanta all over the place. And I love that.
Right. You'll be wearing a shirt that says Atlanta.
They won't have to ask
because they're sold out. They're sold out of the shirts.
Oh, really? Yeah. Dang.
Well, good for them. Also bad for them.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't agree more. I think tying the program and especially tying multiple teams to the city, like the city is cool. Atlanta is a cool place to live. There's stuff going on. We have that vibrancy here, and attaching our brand to that, making this Georgia State, we are in Atlanta. We are Atlanta's team. That's going to do nothing but good for Georgia State.
Yep.
It raises our profile and it makes us more attractive. That's what I mean. That was one of the things that attracted me to Georgia State. It's in Atlanta. You're in the middle of downtown. And
you didn't have to move.
Yeah, exactly. Stayed in the same place over off Home Park. Oh, yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Wagaya, right? That man, I love it out there. The ramen Wagaya.
Which I still haven't been.
Oh man, that's so good.
Yeah, I've driven past it a bunch, and I need to go. There's so many like neat little
spots.
Yeah, like eating spots. Back when I was in school at Tech, like that, there was the Jimmy John's, the Papa John's, and then you drive over to Hemp Hill for the McDonald's. That's
whatever mountain, right? The pizza place,
Rocky Mountain.
Rocky Mountain. Yeah. That's a Georgia Tech like institution, right?
Yeah. But I actually had a funny time when my recruiting class, when we first got to Tech. Like, I don't know who organized it, but somebody thought we had all you could eat food at Rocky Mountain for the freshman class. So we all meet, we go over there, we're eating, we're having a good time. And apparently the first round of appetizers were free. Everything else we had to pay for. And
you had no idea.
Oh yeah, no, we found that out when they brought us the ticket. I was like, oh no, we're good on that. The boss was taking care of this. I said, no, we took care of this little bit up here at the top.
Oh no,
that's for you.
I like how you say the first round of appetizers because there was multiple rounds of appetizers because you've got a football team eating there.
It's like spoken like a true offensive lineman.
Oh, exactly.
That's awesome.
We're 25 strong. Yeah. Good time.
That's awesome. Hey, Joe, I want to talk a little bit about your time at Georgia State, but I think that's best for last call since we're about 45 minutes in. So if you're cool for hanging out a little bit longer, we'll talk about what your experiences were playing under Bill Curry, playing in that dome that very first year, all that kind of fun stuff. And I think that'd be a good conversation if you're up for it, man.
I'd love
Excellent.
to.
Ryan, you got anything else before we head over to last call?
No, let's do it.
Yeah, I know that was a pointless question to ask because you never do. All right. Thank you,
Well,
everybody, for
I
listening.
appreciate it. No, hold on a second, because it was kind of you to
Here
ask.
we go.
It was kind of you to ask, and I might have had something. So what do you mean? Here we go, man. That was cool. Like, don't take away from your kindness. All right, David, you're a nice guy, no matter what you want other people to believe.
Every status call I have at work ends with my boss saying, unless anybody has anything else, and this one tool bag named Chuck Brown, no relation, says, yeah, I've got a couple of things, but Chuck, none of us want to be here anymore. We've all been sitting in this call for an hour. No one wants to be here anymore. Stop it, Chuck. Yeah. All right.
Chuck Brown. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but otherwise they're going to call him Charlie Brown. So it makes sense. True. His parents are horrible. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We're going to head over to last call, talk to Joe a little more about his time with the inaugural team and playing football with us and everything. You can find it on our Patreon page, patreon.com/StateOfAtlanta. It's free of charge. We'll drop on Friday unless you're a Patreon member. $3 a month. You get it immediately, as well as access to our group chat, discounts on our merchandise, and all kinds of other stuff. Whatever we can come up with to thank our Patreon members helps us pay for the hosting and everything that goes along with this, these mics we've got, all that kind of fun stuff. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.